Alright, so I use the piercing light for this build because of just personal preference. If you want to use the preformer or afterglow sword, you can. Doesn't matter. But it's not worth stressing over little bits of damage and getting gold rolled reactors and stuff like that. You do enough damage to not have to worry about that. For what I am doing here, if you want to have 8 bullets, you have to have the 12 rounds per magazine. I have 2 different setups. One will you'll only have 7 bullets, one will you'll have 8. But the 7 bullets does a little bit more damage to weak points. The only thing that ends up changing is the ammo mod. This is for the 7 bullets, and you will be doing about 8 million damage with your firearm damage aspect. The skill power damage will be around 11 million for both setups. The gun doesn't play a factor in either of those. This is just the typical piercing light kind of build that you would do. You can do weak point expansion if you want to do that instead of special sight. Entirely up to you. So here's the change in the ammo mod to give you that extra 9% that we're missing from not using Slayer set. But we lose 10% weak point damage. It ends up being a difference of about 400,000, which, considering we're doing around a total of 19 million, not really that important to lose out on that a little bit. Me shooting in the range is just shooting a level 1 Vulgus that I just spawned in. So damage resistances could change with higher levels and whatnot, so don't be taking exact numbers. Just understand the ratio of the numbers. I like to have my builds be able to do multiple different things, so I went through and I got the singular skill power and the skill crit hit damage on my reactor. You can target towards Colossus if you want and go for the Colossus. And if you roll chill skill power, it's still going to be good. But I like to be able to use my builds in other content rather than this is only going to be able to be used in a Colossus fight. People will argue that you can use Hailey even with it being the Colossus in the normal content. You don't need that little bit extra damage. And they're not wrong. Right now you really don't need the extra damage. But that extra damage could become important for whenever we end up reaching October 10th and whenever we get our mega dungeons. Those are going to have bigger, stronger enemies because we're getting the harder dungeons on, or harder missions on October 10th. And those enemies could be a bit beefy, and you might actually want to have this as a difference maker. But it's entirely up to you of what you want to do. I am running 2 pieces from the Polar set, and I'm for the most part trying to just run the resistance along with the stat boost on these for all of these going down. I do have MP recovery in combat, and that's because I used it on my ultimate Vyessa, which is very helpful for her. It's not so good on Hailey because Hailey just brings her MP back by shooting weak points, which you should always be trying to shoot the weak point. I mean, it's a weak point. kind of explains itself there. So I would like to get the resistance on this instead. And these don't have to be the Annihilation set. I just have it on because it was from my Ultimate Bias build. I already had the components. This set that these come from don't matter. They don't need to even have a set. The only thing that I really recommend looking for is so that you have 3 max HP and a defense. That way you can get up to that 18,000 defense and almost 11,000 health. So for the Colossus side of the build, I am not using skill insight because that puts going through and using just the 3 skill crit mods puts me at a 86-ish% on my skill critical hit rate, and with there being some testing and everything, it shows that has convinced me at least that the way skill crit resistance works is that if they have 15% skill crit resistance, it is subtracted from 100 to hit a ceiling of how much skill crit you can have. So that would bring it down to an 85%, meaning that instead of max being 100%, it is actually 85%. So if you go over 85%, you're just wasting space on that for that Colossus fight, or fighting that enemy. I would imagine all of the Colossi have over a 15% critical hit resistance. Could be wrong on that, so I don't know. I haven't looked into them specifically of how it works for them, what each of their critical hit resistance is, but even missing out on that last 15%, it's not that big of a deal. And this could all change if it gets proven that the critical resistance goes and works based off of what you have. So it's taking 15% away from your 86%. Then that could turn everything on its head, and you would just want to switch out, I'd say, emergency measures for getting skill insight. You lose a small amount of critical hit damage, but you will hit the 100% whenever you have your third ability activated. The only real thing that I would consider changing out is the focus on singular, which for some reason I haven't maxed it out. I don't even know why I haven't maxed it out. I just kind of started making the build video and realized that I catalyzed it but forgot to max it out. So apparently I can do even more damage than what I was doing. And I would consider swapping it out for focus on dimension, because you can use focus on dimension to boost up your first ability. It's not really necessary, but you can if you want to, if it helps you clear out the ads, if you don't one phase the boss or something, or just helps keep things off of you. You can do that, because the focus on singular is just there for cooldown basically. And if you have issues surviving, which I think the better options for what to swap focus on singular out for is autoimmunity and psychological victory. I'd like autoimmunity more, but it's honestly whatever one you're struggling a little bit more with, if it's HP recovery or if it's MP recovery, because both of them give you the same amount of damage reduction. For the dungeons, I swapped out emergency measures for skill insight, and that gets you to that 100% because more things aren't going to have a high critical hit resistance, so it can be more impactful going through and make it so that your first ability can actually be able to do something as you go through into certain areas, and you can help your team out. I mean, obviously, if there's two bunnies running around with you, you're not going to do much no matter what going through to the boss fight. But if you end up going in and then the three people leave because they see you're on Hailey or something and think you're just not going to be able to do anything, it's going to help you get through the dungeons. And then you can also do the invasion dungeons with this, which just will help you get through all of that. I have MP conversion to help get more skill cooldown so that you can be popping your 2 and your 4 back and forth whenever you get into a boss fight. And I switch between multi-talented and decimator. You can do dangerous ambush. It just feels a little wonky how going through the enemies not targeting you, it doesn't seem to work right at times. I don't really know if it is, but it just kind of feels like you don't get that damage boost sometimes. Decimator isn't that great since it's a skill power modifier, but something's better than nothing. With multi-talented, you can end up trying to reduce your skill cooldown. For using multi-talented to reduce your cooldown, what you would want to do is whenever you are at the point of being on your last bullet for your 4, you can use your first ability to proc multi-talented to get your extra 20% cooldown. So you would just use that and shoot, and you'll have the reduced cooldown, and you get your 4 back extremely quickly.
You're going to feel a little chilly.
Okay, why am I grappled onto that side of it?
The ancestors' weapon with Vulgus technology and are using it to emit inversion energy. It appears they are defending the gate with it. The weapon contains ancient arcane. The structure on the ground draws and releases this. Descendant, I will show you the properties of the arcane stored within the weapon. You can disconnect the energy link using your own arcane. Recharge my shield.
Oh my, that stupid shells. Don't know why it lasts long up there.
Job, no matter what. Setting a death. The enemy commander is using the inversion energy as a personal barrier. We must find a device with the same arcane.
This is my only spot for this? Yes, this is the way I hit him, man.
Shield at 0%. Objective confirmed.
Man, if they're gonna put a wall in my way, I'll just blow through the fucking wall. Fuck off. Why is my computer popping up with all that shit right now?
There are ancestor drones which give off inversion energy and a container with unidentified RK stored in this location. The enemy aims to artificially combine these two forces to cause an inversion overload explosion. They have also blocked off the entry path with the Order's malignant tumors. First, remove the tumor from the container to reveal the RK stored inside. If I know the ancestors, they will have already identified the RK's properties. Just before the explosion happens, find the drone which matches the RK's properties and use it as cover. That drone seems to have similar technology to your inversion reinforcement device. If you have found the drone which has the correct RK properties, I can adjust the output to cancel out the blast energy. Descendant, the drone has been destroyed and the inversion energy emitter has been exposed. With this much output, you can remove the malignant tumor that is blocking the door.
I'm pretty sure that Hailey's kind of broken dungeons. Ran through this one quickly and the boss can cause problems here. Let's try and top. That's useless. Square bottom. Alright. I literally don't even need to try to get anywhere.
The commander of the Order of Truth has malignant tumors throughout their body. We need the inversion energy emitter installed on the ancestor drone.
Got two that have square on the bottom. Oh, didn't shoot the right one. Circle on top. Okay, going up the hill. Down your wall.
You're going to feel a little chill.
That's great. With pitiful fucking aim, still one page in the boss. Minus 87.7% chill power. Take those. Probably don't want to put the cryo on this boss. If they get inflicted with something, their damage reduction.
This is a phase separation veil, which uses inversion energy. It has a large output, which requires processing of tens of billions of units of data per second. According to the scan results, the structure that appears to be a computing device is full of Vulgus artificial brains. This is how they are processing all that data. Continue to insert Vulgus artificial brains into the computing device descendant. If you overload the device, the brain will compute.
Oh my god. Incredible aim. What a grapple. I don't even know what that latched onto. I fucking hate the grapple sometimes. There are so many points that you're actually going to want to have some sort of emulated weapon to essentially a weapon. That works. The gun didn't seem too great at shooting these things off from my first attempt.
The enemy commander is using the field separation veil as a shield.
I got splashed off.
If you overload the computing devices, you can create an opening to attack the commander directly.
Can I get some shit to drop? Fucking long enough. Oh, there's MP right here. Oh, I need to stop that. God, hello.
Aiming at target.
Alright. Pretty good, pretty good.